What's up guys, Mainly Hockey Cards here, and before every NHL season, I like to go over players who I find to be sleeper investments and have the potential to break out or come out of seemingly nowhere. Maybe they do well and maybe they don't, but I love to speculate. Here are 20 potential sleeper young guns to invest in for this coming year. The first is Rudolfs Balcers for the Florida Panthers, who had his best season yet with San Jose, then got bought out and joined a loaded Panthers roster. The Panthers seem to be able to bring out the best in their players who have not fit in other places, and I'm excited to see what happens here. Pavel Zacha for the Boston Bruins had an up-and-down tenure in New Jersey, but I feel packs serious potential. We thought last year would be better for him, but that wasn't the case. This year, with a top 6 spot almost guaranteed, I think we're going to see a gigantic jump in production. Ross Colton was tied for 5th in 5-on-5 goals per 60 minutes last season, and with the departure of Andre Palat, Colton has a real chance to play with a combination of Stamkos, Kucherov, and Point, which would be great company. Dylan Strome, by many standards, has been a bust so far in his NHL career. However, he put together 48 points in 69 games last season, including a career-high 22 goals for an imploding Blackhawks team. Now with the Capitals and Nicklas Backstrom out, he has every opportunity to do big things. Yegor Sharangovich had a good sophomore season, and in year 3 as a lock in the Devils' top 6, I'm expecting some sort of breakout similar to that of Jesper Bratz from this past year. Lawson Krause of the Coyotes had his best season to date with 34 points in 65 games, including 20 goals. For as awful as the Coyotes were, he was a bright spot and looks to be finding his groove offensively. Jakub Vrana has been very injury-prone, but has 30 points in 37 games in a Red Wings uniform. With a new coach and potential to play with a top-tier center in Dylan Larkin, I think we could see a great bounce-back if he stays healthy. Elvis Merzlikins has had a tough shake of the stick for a Columbus team that has looked invisible on defense at times, but he's still given some really solid numbers despite that, and being a fan favorite with a revamped CBJ lineup, I'm excited to see if he can be a dark horse to be one of the best goalies in the league this coming season. Boone Jenner is another Blue Jackets player who's also a bit on the older side, but after 44 points in 59 games last season and the potential to slot between Gaudreau and Laine, I think he's worth keeping an eye on. Oliver Bjorkstrand, the former Blue Jacket, is now a premier winger for the newest NHL franchise, the Seattle Kraken. Sent there as a cap dump after 57 points in 80 games, I truly don't see how this could go wrong for him or the Kraken. Denis Gurianov has shown glimpses of major promise, but it hasn't been consistent. The Russian winger needs to take a step forward this year, and he'll be given the opportunity to do so yet again. Jake DeBrusk for Boston requested a trade this past season, rescinded it, and now looks ahead after having a hot second half. He's going to have to keep proving his worth, but being in a top 6 role with a new coach may do him wonders. Alexander Georgiev was acquired by the reigning champs, the Colorado Avalanche, during the offseason. Georgiev had games where he looked really good and games where he looked really awful during his time with the Rangers. I wonder how he fares as a starter, but with the way Colorado scores, I think he's in a good spot to succeed. Oliver Wahlstrom is a shooter and scorer and shouldn't be relegated to the limited action on the third line and second power play unit that he was subjected to last season. If he gets the time and the looks with a better supporting cast, I could definitely see Wahlstrom exploding offensively. Gabe Vilardi. Once so highly touted, he's slowly fallen out of favor. He went almost a point per game in the AHL last season, but had just 7 points in 25 NHL games. My hope is that he has a chip on his shoulder and finally shows a breakthrough in his first-round pick pedigree. Zach freaking Fucale has a chance this season in Washington, despite them bringing in Kemper and Lindgren. I am not sold on either of those guys, so I would love to see Fucale come out of nowhere again and steal the show. Is it a deep sleeper? Yes. Is it likely to happen? No. I just love Fucale. Nick Paul got the Tampa Bay Lightning effect this past season, 14 points in 21 games after being acquired from Ottawa, and then had 9 points in 23 playoff games. Similar to Colton, there are vacancies on the left wing, and he could fit in a top 6 role and really shine, or he plays a center role on a third line that is likely going to be stacked. Kalen Addison for the Minnesota Wild has a lot of offensive potential, and while he did have a Young Guns rookie this past year, I felt he got overlooked. Minnesota is going to have an explosive offense, and if he ends up quarterbacking one of the power plays, I think we've got the potential for something special. Christian Dvorak for the Canadiens had 33 points in 56 games for a struggling Canadiens team. Though 26, I like the way Dvorak plays, and with Montreal getting a bit of a facelift this offseason, I think Dvorak could finally break out, and with a better supporting cast around him. Lastly, Cody Glass. Glass has had a tough go of it breaking into his NHL career, putting together strong play in the AHL, and it ultimately not carrying over in the NHL. However, there is still time for a player that is very heavily invested in by the Nashville coaching staff and management. So what sleepers are you looking out for this coming season? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Thanks everyone for 1,800 subs.